Hi, it's Ronnie with Plan to Eat, and today I want to talk to you about how you can still meal plan and cook when you feel like life is crazy busy and you just don't have time. Sometimes our schedules are super busy or they change last minute, and in these instances, we often rely on takeout or we skip meals on our meal plan and then food ends up getting wasted. And wasted food is the worst. I personally feel guilty when I waste food and just end up throwing it in the trash because I probably had a plan for it and then it ended up not getting used and it was just a total waste of money that I bought that thing. Plus, I'm kind of sad that I didn't get to make that recipe. Anyway, let's talk about how you can start cooking consistently, prepping ahead, and stick to your meal plan. Okay, I think the first thing when you know you have an unpredictable schedule is to create your own list of if then statements. So I'm thinking of things like if our soccer practice goes late on Thursday, then what are we going to do about dinner? Or if I have a meeting that gets scheduled late in the day on Tuesday, what are we going to do for dinner? Or if at the end of the day I am completely exhausted and I have no energy to cook, what are we going to do for dinner? Only you can decide what's right for your family in those situations, but things like having frozen pizza in the freezer or having leftovers, making batch cook recipes that you can pull out of the freezer for those busy nights. Having options and knowing what those options are is the first step to combating an unpredictable schedule. When it comes to meal planning, if you have a really busy schedule, it might be best for you to plan very meticulously so that you know certain nights of the week you need to have a freezer meal that you can pull out, have some leftovers that you can rely on, or even just a 15-minute air fryer meal that gets dinner done really quickly. But if your schedule is unpredictable, it's often better to plan less in your meal plan so that way you don't end up with a bunch of food that gets wasted at the end of the week because you skipped those meals or you just didn't have time for them. The way that I meal plan in Plan to Eat, and you might find helpful as well, is I plan all of my dinners for the week on Monday night. And so then when I go to the grocery store, I just set my date range for Monday. I shop for all of those recipes. And then as the week unfolds, I drag and drop my recipes onto the different days that they actually get made. This means that I have a meal plan that I know is going to work for the week, but if I'm unsure exactly which day a specific recipe is going to work on, it keeps it flexible so that I can make those decisions on the day of. Another option in your meal plan is to plan some of the recipes that can also act as pantry meals or staple meals. So these are recipes where you already have everything at home, whether it's in your pantry or in your freezer, and you don't need to go to the store to buy anything extra for them. For me, this is something like a beans on toast or a chili. Those are things that I always have at home. And if I need to fall back on that recipe, I already have the items for it. But also, if I don't get to that recipe this week, it's not that big of a deal because all of those ingredients can still just live in my pantry. Now, if your schedule is busy, but you do have time to prep some meals, we always recommend the batch cooking and freezing option. So you could batch prep some recipes like lasagna or enchiladas or casseroles, things that freeze well. And then you can have all of those frozen recipes ready in your freezer for busy days when you just need to be able to pull something out and pop it in the oven. This can also work really well if you are a family that is on the go a lot. You have to pick up the kids after school and then you immediately go to activities, and maybe they only get the 15-minute drive time in between activities to eat dinner. This is a great time to prep handheld food. So I'm thinking sandwiches, burritos, wraps, onigiri, and that way you have something that you can leave in a cooler in your car and the kids can take them out and they can still eat dinner in between their activities and you're not eating at 9:30 at night when you finally get home from basketball. If you're dealing with a busy or unpredictable schedule, I hope some of these tips help you. It's not always the easiest to get a homemade meal on the table, but with a little bit of planning and a little bit of prep work, I think it becomes easier and easier over time. And if you're not already using a meal planner to get dinner on the table every night, I highly recommend Plan to Eat as it is super flexible when it comes to meal planning. And like I mentioned earlier, you can drag and drop recipes to reschedule them and fit your busy life. If you have questions, you can email us at help@plantoeat.com. We'd be happy to answer any questions or help you get started with the program. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon in another video.